Hi everybody, Eleanor here from Nesta Invest, and you are watching my very first coffee break chit chat session. Now, I've created these coffee break sessions because we at Nesta Invest are really lucky to work with some amazing people within the property industry and even outside that realm as well. And what I really wanted to do is connect you with some of these people so you can learn from them, gain more insight into what they do, and take away some tips and perhaps some tips you can put into your everyday life and into your property journey if you're going down that path. Now, this morning, I'm really excited to sit down with this amazing lady that we work with here at Nesta Invest. She is talented. She has over 15 years experience in the landscaping industry. And what we really like about her is that she is passionate about what she does. She stands out from the crowd. She has an amazing eye for detail. She keeps us on our toes, which is great. And she sits in the same values as us. So without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the lovely Monika here from Monika Olson Design. So thank you so much for sitting down with me this morning for my first session. I'm really lucky to have you here. So thanks for jumping in today.
Hi, good morning, Eleanor. It's really amazing to be on this first session with you. I'm delighted and I'm been really looking forward to our interview.
You know, Monika has amazing experience and you are great with what you do, but I know there might be some people out here today watching going, okay, what does exactly, a landscape designer, a landscape architect do compared to, say the landscaper that you see packed up in the van down the side of the road? So would you maybe in short just be able to explain a little bit about what you do and the difference that you make in the property industry and in your field?
Yeah, sure, Eleanor, I don't mind explaining that. So first of all, a landscaper is someone who actually goes out and initiates the project in terms of going out there and constructing and planting the landscape designs. So it could be an amazing pergola that they're building, an interesting feature in the garden, and then they go and they plant their trees and plants around it and manage that side of the project. The landscape architect or designer like myself works with a developer and a homeowner, in fact, and collaborates with the architect and the planning consultants, and in most cases actually produces the landscape plans for resource consent, where it covers details like building percentages, coverage, permeable surfaces, as well as going for a quality green space. And so we look at the property and we see how we can add value to the outdoor areas.
How do you know what style of landscaping is going to suit a house? Do you just take a look at it? I think of these trends at the moment, the tropical trends coming back. Or, you might see a villa and go, oh, a villa needs to have a box hedge because it's an old house. Are there any guidelines that you follow? What do you do to find the right style for a development? Because we always talk about landscaping is the first impression. So how do you get that first impression? What are your processes behind that?
Yes, thanks. That's actually a really interesting question, Eleanor. So to cut a long story short, because every project is so different, we look at there's three main drivers to designing the style of the outdoors. And so the first and foremost would be the architecture that leads the landscape design. So it could be a historical building instead of a contemporary building, for instance, and so the style changes. We also look at the urban design requirements and also the natural environment to base our landscape design formally on. But there are also other important aspects, me specifying great materials that will be both durable and stylish, other elements in landscape design that focuses on specifying resilient and low maintenance plants and trees are really important to people. You see, we want to make our projects look lush and healthy for years to come, never mind style also involved. But I'm really into sustainability, and so as for you, the developer, you also want to look back in years to come and just say, wow, that's a great project, and we helped in creating an outdoor outstanding neighborhood and it still looks great now. Yeah. So the style sort of comes secondary almost after the architecture and the environmental conditions, and then we fit the style in behind that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really good to know, because I think sometimes, we do love a trend, but sometimes perhaps the trend that's happening might not be a great fit for, like you said, the building or where the land is. So you do have to think about those things, and not everyone has the knowledge to think behind that and know the process behind that. And I really like what you said as well. It's making a landscape design that's going to last for 5 years or 10 years, that you can actually look back and go, wow, everything looks beautiful and it's green and it's healthy. So it's not just about the short term, is it? It's not about making it look cool for a year. It's about 5 years or 10 years later. Is it easy to maintain, or is it healthy, and has it grown?
Especially in the development world, I mean, maintenance is a huge thing. It's actually part of the resource consent that you maintain it for 2 to 5 years, and if we're going to specify but beautiful little plants, they need to really be able to stand the test of time. And so looking at the style of those plants, but also looking at the durability and cost effectiveness for the developer and ongoing residents.
Yeah, no, I think, it definitely makes a lot of sense. Touching on the DIY and maintenance, I know a lot of people struggle with this. Me in particular, our garden is not that flash. Jazz is not a hands-on gardener, so it's a mission. But we have been dabbling a bit more during lockdown. But, during lockdown, a lot of people might be going, actually, I've been looking at my garden every day and I want to get into this. I actually want to make some updates. I want to do something. What is a tip that you can share if you are looking at doing your own DIY landscaping at home? You've seen a lot of people, you've seen good things, bad things. Can you share maybe 1 or 2 tips with us on what you would recommend?
Yes, absolutely. So first and mostly importantly is have a robust plan for your DIY landscaping project at home.
Yeah.
Get your ideas together. So you'll come up with heaps of ideas and consolidate them down to only a few ideas, and make sure that those ideas actually flow in terms of style and design. And also looking at the products and the materials that you want to buy, make sure that they've got some guarantees around them and they can last for a long period of time. So the next part that I'd say and I'd suggest is actually sit down and design where things are going to go, and what materials you're going to need, like a list of products and plants. Do your research around your plants and see if your plants will survive in that amount of shade or that amount of light. And then given that, just remember that if you're not 100%, do actually sort out professional advice, because you might actually end up spending more by just sort of winging it. So definitely do your research. So out of those 2 tips, I'd say have a robust plan about how your project's going to roll out. And then the next part of what I'd suggest is actually to go back and look at your materials and look at your plants and see what the cost of those is and how hard they are to maintain.
Yeah, I think there's some good points there. And I think, like you said, it's about that planning. And, a lot of people think, oh, I'll just do it on the fly, but then it could actually end up costing you time and money if you're, buying the wrong, plants for your house, or the products that you buy, whether it's timber, is not the right, not the right quality for what you need.
Yes,
I think
right.
planning is important. And you also don't want, a landscape, a backyard that has one theme there and mix and match, because it does affect the flow. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. I see a lot of patchwork landscape DIY sort of projects, and they've kind of got me in and said, well, we've been living with this for 10 years and we did this 20 years ago, and we did this 10 years ago, and we did this 5 years ago, and it all doesn't flow as one design. So think of your DIY project, think of what's going to flow at the beginning of your, at the front of your house, throughout to the back of the house, and get one sort of theme going. And then your design will be a lot more robust and stronger.
Yeah, definitely. Good tips. I need to take some of those tips in. So I will wrap it up there, but I just wanted to say thank you so much, Monika, for sitting down with me for this first chit chat session. Like I said, you are great at what you do, and so we are really lucky to work with you. And for everybody watching, I hope that you've gained some tips, whether it's your DIY planning, or perhaps, looking back at your overall scheme and going, what am I doing with my garden? Monika has a whole bunch of information all about her work and, experience on her website. So feel free to jump on there and have a further look. I'm going to put some details down below this video of where you can find her. So if you do have any more questions for Monika, let me know or touch base with her directly. So thank you again, Monika, for having a little cup of tea or coffee with me. And thank you everyone for watching. We will see you again next time for our next chit chat. Bye.